Hello and welcome back. The fact that you came back for day 2 shows that you are really ready to create change in your life. And I want to acknowledge that because that is a significant step. Today, we are going to talk about how to stop fixing yourself and start living your sparkle, even if you think you are a hot mess. So let me get my screen shared and we will go on. There we go. I'm never sure where to keep my little face. We'll just put me down there. As I mentioned yesterday, the number one reason women fail is because they think they have to fix themselves first. They think that they can't connect to their naked self-worth until they are worthy of doing so. I'm going to break down this belief a little bit because improving yourself is great, but if you're anything like the women that I work with, you're conscientious and you don't want to do things wrong. So you always make sure you're doing everything right. And then when things go wrong, even if it's not your fault, you internalize that experience and you think that you've done something wrong, even when you haven't. Most of us haven't been conditioned to accept unconditionally and navigate the negative. Most of us have been conditioned to internalize that failure and to delay our own happiness until we do everything right and until we have everything under control. So the question I'm going to start with is, how has that worked for you? Shockingly, 76% of Americans say that they're unhappy, and 90% of Americans make the same New Year's resolution year after year. So clearly this cycle is not working very well. What would it be like to resolve that you don't need fixing and to just start sparkling, to stop fixing yourself and to start connecting to your naked self-worth? We all want to be happy. We all want to live a satisfying life. But as long as we're hung up on that belief that we have to be perfect, and by perfect, I mean by meeting some random unattainable standard, we're never going to be happy. If you have ever felt like a hot mess, if you've ever delayed happiness because you thought you had to take care of something or improve something first, I'm going to drop a truth bomb on you right now. Delaying happiness delays happiness. If there's a part of you that's thinking, okay, I get it. You don't know how messed up I am though, Laura. You are exactly like the women that I work with. I can assure you that you are in the right spot and that you're not as messed up as you think you are, and that in fact, you do not need to fix yourself first. You just need naked self-worth through the 5 steps of flaunt, and your sparkle will come right back. Like we talked about yesterday, feeling broken is part of the female experience. There's a $13 billion self-help industry convincing you that you're broken, and there's a $49.2 billion beauty industry convincing you that you're ugly. So literally everything in your life is working against you right now. It's hard to break free, but you don't have to stay trapped. And when you start connecting to your naked self-worth, suddenly it isn't hard anymore because naked self-worth is not self-help. It's something that is already inside of you. After I had my babies, I worked really hard to get my body back. I was busy and I had kids, and it was not easy. And through that whole up and down cycle of weight loss, I limited my enjoyment of things based on how my body was looking. Maybe you can relate, but it would go something like this. We'd have a vacation coming up, so I would diet. And if I thought that I looked good, then I would act good and I would have fun. But if I thought I still looked fat, I would be inhibited. I would wear a wrap on the beach. I would cram myself into Spanx for dinner. I wouldn't eat what I wanted to do. If you read my book, you know that I love to dance, but that as an adult, I gave it up because I couldn't justify the time or the money. And like I was just talking about, my body was constantly cycling because I was a mother of two. Through a huge series of coincidences, I ended up dancing again at age 44. Not only dancing, but dancing burlesque. I auditioned and got accepted as a dancer in a burlesque troupe that traveled all around the United States, including Las Vegas and the House of Blues in New Orleans. But here's the thing. The dance troupe was happening now. The dance troupe couldn't wait for me to get in shape first, or get my body back first, or get my kids together first, or for my husband to find more flexibility in his job. I didn't have time to worry about what people might think. I had to accept the offer and go to Vegas, or I had to say no and stay home. To many of my friends, the choice was obvious. Go dance. But inside, I really wasn't sure I should accept because I didn't feel worthy. I didn't feel like my body was good enough. Fortunately, I got out of my head and I said yes. I accessed my naked self-worth and I dug really deep. And even though it was scary, I did it. And that choice, that one decision, changed the trajectory of my life forever. That one decision led to a career in burlesque, a book contract with an amazing publisher, finding my passion, speaking about what I do. And I did it all, even though I wasn't fixed or perfect yet. I promise that, like me, there is nothing else you need to do first before you connect to your naked self-worth, before you incorporate the 5 steps of flaunt into your everyday life and build your dreams and live your sparkle. And I am going to prove that to you now. Did you ever play with paper dolls when you were little? Right now, I want you to grab a piece of paper because we're going to do a little on paper burlesque routine. And before you strip down, we are going to cover up. So we're going to start with that. Draw yourself. You've got the little doll on the little screen here, but instead of drawing yourself like you actually think you might look, I want you to draw yourself as you feel like you are inside. Draw your soul. Draw your truth. We talked about your truth yesterday. It doesn't even have to be a human shape if that's not how you feel. Draw yourself as you are. Because even if your drawing isn't perfect, you as your essence are perfect. God doesn't make mistakes. The universe doesn't make mistakes. Once you have that drawing of yourself, you're ready to suit up. Throughout your life, you were probably told things about yourself that didn't match who you were on the inside. And when that happens to us, what we do is we put on a layer of clothing to make ourselves appropriate. I was an only child, and I thought I had to be perfect. So I cinched myself into this corset of perfection. I learned that girls weren't good at math and that boys wouldn't like me if I was too smart, so I put a cap on my intellect. I learned somewhere along the line that I needed a flat stomach, and that's when I started my love affair with Spanx. I learned that facts and figures were more important than intuition when I was practicing law, so I put on like sunglasses or goggles to shield my vision. I put on layer upon layer in an attempt to please and in an attempt to be who and what I thought I should be. It doesn't have to be fancy, but just start drawing on some of those layers on your paper doll. Think about all of the things that we wear that make us feel a different way. I'm just going to keep talking and you draw. Power suits, power pumps, mom jeans. Do you wear like scrubs or a uniform? Do you have a special going out outfit or a skirt that makes you feel really, really good? Do you have like a power necklace or power earrings? Draw some of those things that you wear that make you feel a certain way. Draw some of the things that you use to mask or cover yourself up with. And take a look at what you have become. You are still in there. You did not go away. You are not broken and you do not need to be fixed. You've just been covered up. You are not a hot mess. You're just probably hot from all of these layers of conflicting crap that have been layered up on you for so long. I don't know if you saw this, but it was truly amazing. They recently did some sort of x-ray thing on the Mona Lisa, and they discovered that the Mona Lisa is not the Mona Lisa. She is actually a modified painting. She is some other like trade merchant's wife or something like that, and they didn't like the painting, so the artist painted on top of her. Think about that. She is the modified version of somebody else. One of the most famous pieces of art in history, one of the most famous, she's an enigma, the Mona Lisa. She's not even who we think she is. She is masked. She is somebody else wearing a different identity. And no, she is not broken, and neither are you. You just need to strip down and be who you are. When you have naked self-worth, through the 5 steps of flaunt, you realize that you aren't broken, and it is an enormous relief. But the process does take time. Today's exercise was just a tiny bit. It was the beginning. It was the first time ever that you may have started stripping out of those layers. And like burlesque, stripping out of the layers is a dance, it's a tease, and it's meant to be enjoyed. This is not a painful process. You can strip down, uncover yourself, and sparkle fully once again. But as a hypnotherapist, as a coach, as a teacher who works with women every day, and as a woman who has been through this process myself, I absolutely know how the mind works. And I know that one of the thoughts going through your head is this: yes, I totally get it, Laura. It wasn't me. And that feels so good. And I'm ready. I get it. But oh my God, not now. You should see my family. The world is a total mess right now. My job is uncertain. All of things around me are just so uncertain and so unpredictable that I've got to wait until things around me settle down. Then I can do this. Whether it's the time or the money or the world or your family or your work situation, I know. I 100% know what it's like to feel trapped. And if you're anything like me, you legitimately do carry a ton of responsibility for those around you, for the house, for work, for everything. And that's why I put together my last video. My last video is how to sparkle like a diamond, even when you're trapped in overwhelm. And I like to say that is otherwise known as how to untangle yourself from others, break free from the BS, and live your own life your way. So watch your inbox, because that link is coming to you tomorrow. Have an incredible rest of your day, and I will see you tomorrow for the last video.